Jarek worked quietly in his small workshop on the edge of the human colony of Tarsus 7. His hands, strong and skilled, moved with ease over the tools and circuits spread across the bench. He had spent most of his life fixing ships, repairing engines, and solving problems others could not. Space travelers often relied on him, and he had earned a reputation as one of the best engineers in the sector. Yet Jarek preferred to remain unnoticed, living a life of simplicity, away from politics and galactic attention. It had been many years since the day he had helped two young girls stranded on a distant planet. He had remembered them as fragile, frightened, and alone. They had clung to each other, speaking in a language he barely understood, and Jarek had spent hours repairing their broken escape pod. At that time, he knew nothing of their true identity, nothing of the royal blood that ran through their veins. He had only seen two children in need, and he had acted without thought for reward or recognition. That memory had faded into the background of his life, a distant moment that seemed almost unreal. Jarek had continued his work, repairing starships, modifying engines, and teaching younger mechanics the art of problem-solving. He was content. He thought his past deeds had disappeared into the void of space, leaving no trace beyond the grateful smiles of two orphaned children. Yet, destiny has a way of returning even forgotten kindness. On a bright morning, the twin suns of Tarsus 7 bathed the colony in golden light. Jarek was adjusting the magnetic coils on a new propulsion engine when a sound interrupted his work, a deep, resonant hum unlike any engine he had heard before. He looked up and squinted against the sunlight, reflecting off metal. A massive spaceship hovered above the colony. Its design was unlike any human vessel, sleek and regal, with flowing lines that seemed almost alive. It radiated power and authority. The ship's hull shimmered with polished alloys, reflecting the suns in a dazzling display. Jarek's first thought was that the craft must belong to an alien government or a wealthy interstellar magnate. He had seen many ships pass through Tarsus 7, but nothing like this. The ship landed with graceful precision, its landing struts lowering with quiet power. A hatch opened, and a delegation emerged. They wore uniforms of deep blue and silver, adorned with symbols that Jarek did not recognize. Their posture was perfect, formal, and commanding. At the head of the group were two young women. They looked familiar, though Jarek could not immediately place them. There was something in their eyes: curiosity, respect, and a quiet strength. "You are Jarek," one of them said in perfect basic, the common galactic language. Her voice was clear, calm, and authoritative. "We have come to see you." Jarek froze. The name carried no secrets, no warnings. It was his name, spoken with certainty, as if they had known him for years. He wiped his hands on a cloth and stepped forward. "I am Jarek," he replied cautiously. "How may I help you?" The two women exchanged a glance, and then the taller one stepped forward. "We are Lyra and Fiona," she said. "You helped us a long time ago, when we were children. We need your skills again." Recognition sparked in Jarek's mind. He remembered two small, frightened girls, stranded on a rocky planet. Their pod broken, their eyes wide with fear. Could it be them? After all these years? His heart quickened, and a strange warmth filled him. I remember," he said slowly. "But you are the children I helped? I thought." His voice trailed off. Lyra smiled, a mix of nostalgia and pride. "We are the same children. You do not know what you did for us. Your kindness changed our lives. We were alone, but you gave us hope." Fiona nodded. "We owe much to you. And now, we need your help again. Our kingdom is in danger, and your skills could make the difference between survival and destruction." Jarek shook his head in disbelief. "Kingdom? Danger? I don't understand. I am just an engineer. I fix machines. I am not a soldier. I cannot—" "You have always done more than just fix machines," Lyra interrupted gently. "You saved lives. You used your mind and your hands to protect us when no one else could." That is exactly why we need you now. Owning for my. I well to Lee. Owning lives. Owning lives, Jarek hesitated. He had spent years avoiding attention, avoiding responsibility beyond his immediate tasks. He had built a quiet, simple life. And yet, the memory of two small faces looking at him with trust, and the realization that those children had grown into strong, capable leaders, tugged at him. Very well, he said finally, his voice steady. I will come with you. But I need to know what I am stepping into. The two women exchanged a brief smile and then led him aboard the ship. The interior was breathtaking. Smooth surfaces, glowing panels, and advanced technology surrounded him. The layout was alien but functional, designed for efficiency and speed. Jarek's eyes roamed over the ship, absorbing every detail. He could see the engines, the energy conduits, the weapon systems, and the life support modules. It was a masterpiece of engineering. As they moved through the corridors, Lyra spoke. Our kingdom, Celeris, is under threat from the Zetherian Federation. They seek to conquer our star systems and enslave our people. We have managed to survive so far, but their fleets grow stronger. We need your skills to upgrade our ships, to give us an edge we cannot achieve alone. Jarek listened carefully. The name Zetherian Federation carried a weight of fear, and he realized the situation was far more serious than he had imagined. His mind raced, thinking of engines, shields, energy pulses, and ship design. The challenge excited him, even as the danger frightened him. You want me to improve your ships? He asked. Yes, Viona replied. Not just improve. Adapt them. Use methods that are human. We have studied your species' reputation for ingenuity and courage. You see problems differently. You solve what others cannot. Jarek felt a flicker of pride, mixed with disbelief. Humans were often underestimated in the galaxy. They were known for courage, adaptability, and unconventional thinking. Perhaps that was why these girls, now leaders, had sought him out. The ship's bridge was a marvel. Large screens displayed star maps, fleet positions, and incoming messages. The girls guided Jarek through their plans, explaining the weaknesses they had discovered in their enemy's strategy. Jarek noticed small details, energy fluctuations, shield inconsistencies, propulsion limitations that others might miss. He realized that, with a few clever adjustments, the Solarian fleet could gain a significant advantage. Over the next hours, Jarek moved from room to room, inspecting the ships, studying the technology, and formulating plans. The girls watched him, offering insight and listening to his suggestions. They did not command him harshly. They guided him, respected his expertise, and trusted his judgment. For Jarek, it was a new experience. He had never worked so closely with leaders who valued his mind, not just his hands. As night fell on Tarsus 7, the colony below glimmered with lights. Jarek stood on the observation deck, looking at the stars. He thought of his quiet life, of the days when he only repaired engines and ignored the larger universe. Now, he was part of something much bigger. The fate of a kingdom rested, in part, on his skills. Lyra joined him, her gaze following his to the stars. You did not know who we were when you helped us, she said softly. But you acted with courage and kindness. That choice shaped everything. You could have ignored us, but you did not. That is why we came to you now. Jarek looked at her, seeing not the child he once helped, but a leader, confident and determined. I never thought my small actions would matter so much, he admitted. They matter more than you realize, Viona said from behind him. Sometimes, one person's choices can change the course of history. Yours did. Ford Beatty. Jarek nodded, a sense of purpose settling over him. He had spent years believing that his life was ordinary, that his work was limited to engines and repairs. Now, he understood that courage and ingenuity, no matter how small they seemed, could echo across the stars. The ship's engines hummed quietly, ready to take them beyond Tarsus 7 and into the unknown reaches of space. Jarek felt a thrill of anticipation. He did not know what awaited them, but he was ready to face it. For the first time in years, he felt truly alive. That night, as he slept aboard the royal ship, Jarek dreamed of stars, of distant worlds, and of two small faces smiling at him from long ago. He knew that the journey ahead would be dangerous, that challenges awaited that could test every skill he possessed. But he also knew that he would not face them alone. Lyra and Fiona trusted him, and he would not let them or their kingdom down. In the morning, the ship prepared to depart. Jarek stood on the bridge, watching as Tarsus 7 shrank behind them. The colony seemed small now, a quiet memory compared to the vastness of space. The girls briefed him on the first steps of their mission: reconnaissance, fleet retrofitting, and preparation for the enemy's advance. "Your work begins immediately," Lyra said. "The survival of Solaris depends on it." Jarek took a deep breath, gripping the railing. "Then, let's get to work," he said. The ship surged forward, leaving the colony behind. Stars streaked past, and the hum of the engines filled the air. Jarek felt a sense of purpose stronger than anything he had known. He was no longer just an engineer on a quiet colony. He was a human whose skills, courage, and choices could shape the destiny of a kingdom. And somewhere in the vastness of space, a kingdom waited for its savior. The royal ship cut through the stars, leaving Tarsus 7 far behind. Jarek stood on the observation deck, watching distant suns and planets drift past. The vastness of space always made him feel small. But now, for the first time, he also felt responsible. The lives of Lyra and Fiona and the future of their kingdom rested on him. "Jarek," Lyra's voice called softly. He turned to see her approaching, her expression serious. "We need to brief you on the situation. The Zetherian Federation is growing stronger every day. They have conquered several neighboring star systems, and they will not stop until Solaris falls." Jarek nodded. "I understand. But what exactly do you want me to do?" Fiona joined them. "Our fleet is old, our ships are strong, but they were not built for the kind of warfare the Zetherians bring. We need you to upgrade them, to adapt human techniques to Solarian technology. You must find weaknesses the enemy cannot predict." Jarek's mind raced. Alien ships were different, far more advanced in some areas than human vessels, yet they followed patterns and principles he could understand. He could see how engines functioned, how shields absorbed energy, how weapons discharged. With some modifications and clever adjustments, he could make their ships faster, stronger, and harder to hit. "I can do that," he said finally, "but I will need access to all ships, engines, and control systems." Lyra nodded. "You will have it. We trust your judgment. But time is short. We have received reports that a Zytherian scouting fleet is already moving toward our home system." Jarek took a deep breath. The challenge was daunting, but he felt alive in a way he had not for years. He followed the girls to the fleet's command center, a large room with holographic displays and star charts. Solarian officers moved efficiently, their alien features calm yet alert. Jarek examined the displays and saw dozens of ships, their positions, weapons, and shield strengths. "The Zetherians will arrive within days," Fiona said. "We need every ship optimized, every weapon adjusted, every defense upgraded. If we fail, our people will be enslaved, or worse." Jarek worked through the hours, examining engines and power systems, studying the fleet's design, and planning improvements. He noticed subtle flaws the Solarians had missed: shields that could be reinforced, energy conduits that could be rerouted for efficiency, propulsion systems that could gain extra speed with minor adjustments. He sketched designs quickly, sometimes mumbling to himself as his mind moved faster than his hands. The girls watched him silently, occasionally asking questions or offering insights. Their presence was comforting. They were no longer the small children he had helped years ago. They were strong, intelligent, and decisive. Yet, they had not lost the warmth and trust that had first drawn him to them. As the hours passed, Jarek moved from ship to ship, inspecting systems and giving orders. He worked with Solarian engineers, teaching them techniques he had learned from humans, methods of improvisation, quick problem-solving, and creative solutions. Some Solarians were skeptical at first, but they quickly realized Jarek's ideas worked. His modifications made the ships faster, more agile, and better armed. Late in the night, Jarek returned to the royal ship. He was exhausted, but his mind continued to race with ideas. Lyra met him on the observation deck, her expression both tired and relieved. "You are remarkable, Jarek," she said. "Your mind, it sees possibilities that none of us could imagine." "I only do what I can," he replied. "But these ships, they are strong. They can fight the Zetherians, if used correctly." Fiona joined them, her gaze serious. "There is another problem. We have reason to believe there are spies among our fleet. The Zetherians may have infiltrated our ranks. Someone is trying to sabotage our preparations." Jarek frowned. "Sabotage? That complicates things. Do you know who?" No," Fiona said. "But we have detected unusual energy fluctuations, missing parts, and strange anomalies in several ships. We suspect someone is feeding information to the enemy." Jarek considered this. Human logic and ingenuity might not be enough if betrayal existed within the fleet. But he trusted the girls and the officers he had worked with. They were capable, disciplined, and clever. Still, vigilance was required. Over the next days, Jarek worked tirelessly. He modified engines, rerouted power, strengthened shields, and reprogrammed weapons. He trained Solarian crews in new tactics, teaching them to think like humans in combat, unpredictable, bold, and adaptive. He also helped the girls develop strategies to detect and counteract spies. During a quiet moment, Lyra approached him. "You've changed our fleet, Jarek. But more than that, you've changed our people. Your ideas have inspired them to believe that they can win, even against the Zetherians." Jarek shrugged, a small smile on his face. "I only did what I would have wanted someone to do for us humans, if we were in trouble." Fiona joined them. "Your courage, your creativity. It is not just engineering. It is leadership. Even if you do not call it that. You have given us hope." Jarek looked at both of them, realizing the weight of their words. He had always thought of himself as a simple mechanic, a fixer of engines. Yet now, he understood that ingenuity, courage, and quick thinking could influence not only machines but the hearts of those around him. Suddenly, the alarm on the ship blared. The scouting fleet of the Zetherians had arrived. Outside, the stars seemed alive with movement, as enemy ships formed a blockade near the Solarian system. Jarek ran to the control room with Lyra and Fiona. Officers were already coordinating defenses, but tension ran high. "They are testing us," Lyra said. "We cannot afford to waste energy or weapons. We need to respond smartly." Jarek studied the display. The Zetherians outnumbered them significantly, and their ships were heavily armed. Yet, he noticed patterns in their formation, repetitive movements, predictable energy signatures. A human mind might see opportunities that the alien strategists did not. "Follow my plan," Jarek said quickly. "We will use their predictability against them. Position the smaller ships as decoys. The larger ships will move in a zigzag pattern. Fire only when the enemy exposes a weakness. Use our shields to bait them into overextending." Lyra and Fiona exchanged a glance. "If this works, it could save many lives," Lyra said. "We trust you." The fleet moved under Jarek's guidance. Small Solarian ships darted forward, drawing enemy fire. Larger ships maneuvered, as he instructed, exploiting openings and weaknesses. Jarek directed energy flows and shield adjustments from the control room, his mind moving faster than any machine could. The enemy fleet hesitated, surprised by the unexpected tactics. Human ingenuity, combined with Solarian technology, created confusion among the Zetherians. Ships that had seemed invincible now struggled to respond. Despite the advantage, the battle was intense. Explosions lit up space, shields flickered, and alarms blared. Jarek gave orders calmly, adjusting strategies on the fly, rerouting power, and reinforcing weak points. Every decision counted, every calculation mattered. During a critical moment, a Zetherian destroyer targeted Lyra's ship. Jarek noticed the trajectory and realized that the shields might fail if they did not act. Thinking quickly, he rerouted power from nearby engines to reinforce the shields and adjusted the weapon systems to create a counterfire pattern. The destroyer's attack was absorbed, and the enemy ship faltered under the unexpected assault. Viana's voice came over the comms. "Jarek, that was brilliant. You saved the ship." Jarek allowed himself a brief nod. "We need to keep moving. They will adapt if we hesitate." Hours passed as the skirmish continued. The Solarian fleet, guided by Jarek's ingenuity, inflicted unexpected damage on the Zytherians while minimizing their own losses. The enemy, frustrated and confused, began to withdraw. When the battle ended, the Solarian fleet regrouped. Jarek was exhausted, his body trembling from adrenaline and fatigue. Lyra and Viona stood beside him, their faces showing relief and pride. "You did it," Lyra said softly. "We survived our first encounter because of you," Viona added. "Not just survived. You gave us hope. The Zetherians will think twice before attacking again." Jarek looked at the stars, now calm and still. The fleet was safe, at least for now. Yet he knew this was only the beginning. The Zetherians were powerful, and the kingdom's true test lay ahead. "Thank you," Lyra said quietly. "For everything. You are more than an engineer. Jarek, you are part of our people now." Jarek felt a warmth in his chest. He had come aboard reluctantly, unsure of what awaited him. Now, he understood that human courage, ingenuity, and kindness could make a real difference, even among the stars. Viona placed a hand on his shoulder. "We will face greater challenges, Jarek. But with you by our side, I believe we can protect Solaris." He nodded. "Then we face them together." As the royal ship moved deeper into the Solarian system, Jarek continued to study the fleet, preparing for the next encounter. He knew that every battle would test his mind, skills, and courage. Yet, he also knew that humans could adapt, improvise, and overcome challenges that others thought impossible. And so, with stars stretching endlessly before them, Jarek and the two girls he had once saved prepared for the war that would decide the fate of a kingdom. The human engineer's ingenuity had proven itself once. Now, the galaxy would see how far it could go. The Solarian fleet hovered near the outer edge of their home star system. Jarek stood on the observation deck of the royal ship, watching the stars streak past as the engines hummed quietly. Outside, the Zetherian main fleet loomed dark silhouettes against the light of the twin suns, countless warships glinting with menace. Their arrival was no longer a distant threat. It was immediate. Lyra and Viona stood beside him. Both were calm, their faces determined. But Jarek could see the tension in their eyes. The survival of Solaris rested on this moment, and every decision would matter. "We have done all we can to prepare," Lyra said, her voice steady. "The fleet is ready. Our people trust us. Now, it is time to act." Jarek nodded. He had spent days modifying engines, reinforcing shields, and reprogramming weapons. The Solarian ships had grown stronger, faster, and more adaptable human ingenuity, fused with alien technology. But the enemy fleet was vast, and the stakes were higher than ever. Viona spoke next, her tone sharp. "Jarek, we need a plan that they will not expect. Something bold. Something human." Jarek's mind raced. He had observed the Zetherians carefully, noting their patterns, their predictable formations, their reliance on sheer numbers and brute force. They had advanced technology, but they lacked creativity. That was the advantage he would use. "Here's what we do," he said quickly. We divide the fleet into 3 groups. The first group will act as decoys, drawing the enemy's attention. The second group will move in hidden patterns, using cloaking and energy shifts to flank them. The third group, our largest ships, will hold the line and deliver concentrated fire at key points. We use gravity manipulation to control their movement and force them into traps. Timing and coordination will be everything. 2-3 point. Lyra and Fiona exchanged a glance, then nodded. It is risky, Lyra said. But it could work. We trust you. Jarek felt a surge of determination. Then, let's show them what humans can do. The fleet moved into position. Smaller Solarian ships darted forward, drawing enemy fire. Explosions lit the void of space as the Zetherians took the bait. Jarek monitored the flow of energy, rerouting power to shields and weapons, adjusting trajectories to maximize effectiveness. Suddenly, a group of Zetherian destroyers veered toward Lyra's ship. Their weapons fired in rapid succession, energy beams tearing through the vacuum. Jarek's mind worked quickly. He rerouted power from the engines to reinforce the shields and adjusted the firing sequence of the ship's cannons. The destroyers' attacks were absorbed, and counterfire struck them with precision. Fiona's voice came through the comms. Jarek, that was brilliant. You saved the flagship. Jarek allowed himself a brief smile. We are not finished yet. Keep moving. Don't let them predict our next step. The smaller ships continued their feint, zigzagging through the enemy fleet, drawing their fire and attention. Jarek directed the hidden flanking group, guiding them through energy channels and gravity wells to strike from unexpected angles. Explosions erupted around the enemy fleet as the Solarians struck with precision. Hours passed. The battle raged across the star system. The Zetherians were powerful, their numbers overwhelming, but they were unprepared for the unconventional tactics Jarek had devised. Human thinking, creative, bold, unpredictable, turned the tide. During a critical moment, a Zetherian battleship targeted Fiona's vessel. Its energy beams threatened to pierce the hull. Jarek quickly calculated a countermeasure. He directed nearby ships to create a temporary energy shield cluster, absorbing the attack while simultaneously firing concentrated plasma bursts at the battleship's weak points. The enemy ship faltered, its shields failing under the unexpected assault. Lyra's voice came over the comms, filled with relief. Jarek, you did it again. The fleet holds. Jarek's eyes never left the displays. The Zetherians were adapting, but so was he. Every move was calculated, every adjustment precise. He directed fire patterns, rerouted energy flows, and modified engine outputs in real time. The enemy fleet, though vast and powerful, could not predict the combination of human creativity and Solarian strength. At one point, a Zetherian cruiser tried to bypass the main fleet and attack the Solarian homeworld directly. Jarek's mind raced. He activated a gravity field using modified energy generators, slowing the cruiser and forcing it into the path of another group of ships. The enemy vessel was destroyed before it could reach the planet. Humans are unbelievable, Lyra whispered, almost to herself. Fiona placed a hand on her sister's shoulder. This is only possible because of him. Jarek has changed the game. The battle reached its climax. The remaining Zetherian forces tried to regroup, but Jarek anticipated their movements. He directed the Solarian ships in a final, coordinated strike. Gravity wells, energy bursts, and precision weapon fire combined to trap the enemy fleet. One by one, Zetherian ships were disabled, captured, or forced to retreat. The void of space shimmered with explosions and debris, a testament to the ingenuity and courage of humans and Solarians working together. Finally, silence returned. The stars stretched endlessly, untouched by the chaos that had just unfolded. The Solarian fleet had survived. The Zetherians had been defeated. At least for now. Lyra and Fiona approached Jarek on the bridge, their expressions a mix of relief, pride, and gratitude. We did it, Lyra said softly. Because of you, Jarek. Because of your mind, your courage, your humanity. Your humanity. Jarek shook his head, a humble smile on his face. I only did what I thought was right. Humans are clever, yes, but it is trust, teamwork, and courage that won battles. You and your fleet followed my ideas, adapted, and fought bravely. This victory is yours as much as mine. Fiona placed a hand on his shoulder. You saved us. You saved Celeris. The kingdom owes you more than words can express. Jarek felt a warmth in his chest. He had spent years believing he was just a simple mechanic, a fixer of engines. Now he understood that human ingenuity, courage, and quick thinking could shape the destiny of worlds. The royal ship moved toward the Solarian homeworld. Below, cities glimmered with lights, inhabitants cheering as they witnessed the retreat of the Zetherian fleet. The people had survived, their kingdom saved by a human they had never expected to see in their history. Lyra and Fiona stood beside Jarek as the planet came into view. The people will celebrate you, Lyra said. But more than that, they will remember the bond you have created between our species. Jarek looked down at the planet, a sense of pride and humility washing over him. I do not need celebration, he said. I only hope I have made a difference, that my actions, however small, have helped save lives and give hope. Fiona smiled. You have done more than that. You have inspired. You have shown that humans are not to be underestimated. You have reminded us that courage and ingenuity can overcome even the greatest odds. As the fleet descended into the system, Jarek noticed the gratitude in the faces of the Solarian officers, the pride in the eyes of the young leaders, and the hope shining from every city. For the first time in years, he felt truly at home among allies, among people who valued his mind, his courage, and his heart. Lyra turned to him. Jarek, the kingdom will not forget you. We offer you a permanent place among us, not just as an engineer, but as a trusted advisor, a member of our council. Will you accept? 1. Jarek shook his head, a gentle smile forming. I only ask for one thing. The chance to continue helping you and your people. That is enough. Lyra and Fiona nodded, understanding the humility and wisdom in his words. Then it is done, Fiona said. You are one of us, Jarek. Always. The Solarian fleet entered the atmosphere of their homeworld. Cities lit up. People cheered. And the royal family welcomed their returning leaders. Jarek stayed on the royal ship, watching as the celebrations unfolded. He felt a sense of accomplishment and peace. He had come aboard reluctantly, uncertain of what awaited him. Now, he understood that courage, ingenuity, and kindness could create bonds across species, change the course of history, and save entire worlds. That night, as Jarek stood on the observation deck, he looked out at the stars. He thought of the journey, of the battles fought, and of the young girls he had once helped. They had grown into leaders, and together they had overcome impossible odds. And somewhere in the vastness of space, other challenges awaited, other threats that would require courage, ingenuity, and the human spirit. Jarek smiled to himself. He was ready. Humans were capable of more than most believed. And wherever there was danger, wherever there were people in need, he would be there. Not for glory, not for reward, but because it was the right thing to do. Lyra joined him silently, her eyes reflecting the starlight. You are a hero, she said softly. Jarek shook his head. I am just human. But perhaps that is enough. Together, they watched the stars, knowing that the galaxy was vast, the challenges endless, and the future unwritten. But with courage, ingenuity, and trust, anything was possible. The Solarian kingdom was safe. For now, and humans, once again, had proven that even in the far reaches of space, their spirit could shine brighter than any star. And so, with hope in their hearts, and the stars as their witness, Jarek and the two young leaders prepared for the new era, a kingdom saved, a bond forged, and a human remembered not as a simple mechanic, but as a symbol of courage, ingenuity, and the limitless potential of humanity.